Okay, cool. All right, we should be good in terms of we are recording, and you guys should be able to hopefully see my screen. We have got a busy afternoon ahead of us here, in that we are going to be taking a look at the project one, step 5, which is essentially plugging in the content. So we've got a critique that we're going to do, and this is, similar to the critique that we did when we looked at your banners. With a class that's this size and us only having an hour and 45 minutes, it's a pretty fast moving thing. When I logged into the Google Drive a few moments ago, there were 13 project submissions. There likely will be more, I'm guessing, over the course of the next hour or so. But the quick math is, with the time of we have for class, the calculator said that we have just a hair over 8 minutes to look at each of these projects. So it's going to be kind of fast. I'm going to try and be very direct with the feedback that I give you guys. I would love for you guys to...
There's some sound going on in the background.
Gotcha. Let's see. So guys, just make sure that you are all muted. Let me see here.
It sounds like some podcast.
Gotcha. Let's see. So we are, it looks like we're all muted. I definitely don't have a podcast.
I don't hear anything
over here.
I don't know what he's hearing.
Okay. Yeah, just again, make sure you guys are muted. I definitely have no audio happening over here.
It's gone now. Okay,
cool. Thanks, Jacob, for mentioning that, though. Yeah, if we ever hear anything like that, guys, just, obviously make mention of it. But, I do feel like critiques like this are valuable for you guys to be able to give each other feedback as well. Obviously, though, with the time allocation we have, that's not always possible to do it verbally. So I would encourage you guys in the chat area to leave some feedback for each other if you feel that there's something that you might recommend that maybe I missed. So these are the things that I'm going to be looking at as I'm looking at your site. You'll notice that with these, I'm going to look right away at your code, make sure it's clean and well organized. From a design standpoint of your homepage, I'm just going to be looking at the overall balance of it. And probably more often than not, I might have suggestions on like the typographical hierarchy you've got present within your designs. I'll be looking at your images. Are they compressed cleanly? Is the root folder well organized? Is your homepage named index.html? And preferably, we're doing this in a project where we really should just have one CSS file that controls all of the pages of the site. So these are the things I'm going to be looking at. So as I download these, excuse me, and I unzip your root folders, you'll notice with each of these that I'm just going to take a moment, look through the folder, open up your index page in Visual Studio Code, give the code a quick look. Also for the CSS document, I'll be doing that. And then I'll take a look at the site inside of the browser. But again, the only negative really to this sort of a format of only meeting once a week online is that this ends up being a fairly fast critique. And I know I've said that, but just to reiterate. So yeah, at this point, we got to jump right in because every minute very much counts. So I'll be taking a look at these very much just sort of in the order in which they're sitting here right now, just so that I don't lose track of where we're at. So I'll begin here with group roots. Let me go ahead and download this and we will give it a look. Group root, right off the bat, I noticed that your root folder is 26 megs. That likely means that you have some files in there that don't belong, like Photoshop files or maybe Illustrator files. So we do want to make sure we get rid of
I will remove that.
Yeah, I would definitely make sure that we get those out of here before the final submission, guys. For all of you, this is good for us to see. Those are files that that you will definitely be marked down on those. So cool. So I don't actually see any sitting here, but that 26 megs is definitely somewhere.
In the extra, I think in the extra folder, I put my extra stuff.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so do make sure for next week when you submit that to please remove the extra folder from there.
Okay.
So looking at your root folder, we are looking very nicely organized here. I do notice that you do have 2 style sheets, so we can talk about how to get that down to just 1. But that's all looking good. I'm going to go ahead and open this up in Visual Studio Code and see how it looks. Okay. Let's see. All right, code is looking very nice and organized. What I'm looking for with this, guys, is opening and closing tags that align with each other. That's awesome. You know, I can clearly see where the header begins and ends, navigation begins and ends. There will be times, this is perfectly acceptable, where we have a short block of code and having the opening and closing tag on the same line. But again, nicely organized from a standpoint of the paragraphs which open and close. It's a small thing, Gurpreet, but I would definitely make sure that like there are no caps inside of tags. So that would be something that I would recommend that you make like a lowercase on that P. No, but no, it's not a huge deal, but definitely something that is industry standard just to go with lowercase on tags like that. But yeah, the code is nice and clean. Excellent job on that. I'm going to take a look also at your style sheet. Now there are 2 styles. Let's see which one you're linking to. The one called style. Okay, good. Let's go ahead and open that. Okay. All right, excellent. So I love that you've got comments in here for yourself that are giving you information. Everything looks nice and clean here. It's well spaced, well organized. Okay, awesome. Okay, very good. All right, let's give this a look in a browser window.
That's my old one. New one is I submit today in the root folder that I arrange footer 2. In this one, I did not code about footer.
Did you just recently re-upload it?
No, I just submitted today in the root folder.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in the root folder. Is that not the right document here? Like here, if I open this up,
Can you run
this is
homepage?
fine. Hang on a second. Let me do a file open from the browser here. It's pointing to my old project. Go to downloads. Okay. Cool. Rupert, is this the current
Yeah,
version?
that's fine. But can you check the footer is complete or not?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Can you check the footer? Bottom.
Hang on. I'll go to the folder. Okay. Is this not the correct one?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I mean, this is the one I have open right now.
Okay. I think my footer is incomplete in this code. Can I submit my new one?
You can. What I'm going to do, though, to save time, go ahead and submit that. I'm going to move forward, though, to the next student while you're uploading that, because we are super, super crunched on our time here.
Yeah, sure.
I will bounce back here after we do that. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, do make sure, guys, that you are making sure that the right files are in place for this. Okay, let's see here. All right, let's see, Jacob, I'm going to take a look here at yours next.
I don't know if all of the changes that I made this week are in that, because I didn't resubmit anything for this week because I didn't see another part.
Gotcha. Okay, so real quick, guys, no worries. What you can do for today's critique is go ahead and put your file in the part 5 folder. So if that's not the current version, go ahead and take a moment and do that. Like, did you guys put them like in the part 6? Probably not, right? Yeah, we're going to be putting these in the part 5. So my apologies for, not clarifying that. Why don't we do this? I'll look for at least one that is current.
I just uploaded mine if you'd like to take a look at it. It is in there
Cool.
for
Kathy, is that you?
specs.
Okay, cool.
It's, yeah, that one.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Let's do that. Cool. All right, RIP folder is looking good. Image folders looking good. Wow, awesome. Those are nice small images in terms of file size overall. Files, I don't want to do, you can actually keep that open, but I also want to open this up in Visual Studio Code. Okay, let's see. All right, good. The code is looking excellent in terms of organization. Again, opening and closing tags prominently positioned. Nice use of tabs to just create very visual looking code here overall. Oh, look at that, even playing with some borders on things. So one thing we want to make sure, Kathy, and this is something I guess really for all of us here, we don't want to be using inline styles in a project. This is, it's an old way of doing things, and it's not necessarily the best from the standpoint of if we want to make an update, you'd have to potentially go and find like all of these. So a better way of doing this, and this is fine, I can show you guys how to do this. A better way of doing this would be in the style sheet and then giving this image or any image then that you want to apply this to a class. So basically, if I open up your style sheet in Visual Studio,
I did give a class to some of the images because they had different parameters.
sure.
So I have like image 1, image 2, image 3, image 4.
Awesome. And
But I
that's
didn't
totally
know
fine.
if that's what you're looking for.
So what we want to do is potentially, we don't want to have a style inline in the HTML because it sets us up for, imagine if you were working on a bigger website, maybe instead of 4 pages, it was 40 pages.
Okay.
If you wanted to make an update, let's say the client looks at this and says, I don't really want those borders to be black, or maybe they want them thicker or thinner. You'd have to go and find every instance of those styles across 40 pages and make that change versus going to one part of your style sheet and making that adjustment. So ultimately, that's why I'm making this suggestion to you. And you're not the only one that does this. Happens every single semester. So it's okay. I'd love to use this as a learning opportunity for us all. So if we wanted this or more images to have this type of a style, we'd potentially just make a class over here and then apply that. So I'm just going to do this and call this like image, I don't know, image border example, just for right now, for lack of a better term. And I'm just going to paste some of those parameters that you had. Actually, we can just do like this. And now we can use this class for any image that potentially we want. So I'll save that. I'll go back to your HTML. And instead of doing this style inline, and it's called an inline style, guys, because we're putting it in the same line of our HTML. That's kind of like what that term means. And again, this is actually, there was a point in time where that's the only way that we could do this. So you actually already have a class on there, and it's okay. We can have more than one class. Although if all images that would be center aligned, you'd want to have that border class on, you could actually just, add those styles that we wrote into this same class right here. But ultimately, this is how we would want to do it, is just linking out to another class. And then anytime, Kathy, that you might want to use or have an image that has that 3-pixel black border, you could just call out to this class, again.
Right. Okay, good. Because I did apply it to all of my pictures on each page. So
Gotcha.
that's
Cool.
a good point.
Yeah, absolutely. So that, in that case, then, yeah, you might just want to build those 3, or those 3 parameters like this.
Okay.
Right into the image, 1 or 2, or the image, what are you calling it? I think center align image, right into those. And that way you don't necessarily have to have 2 classes here, So there's, some variety, but I will say your code looks really good. That was the only issue that I saw And that's an easy fix for you. In terms of the design of things, let's give this a look through here. I like the amount of padding that you have on either side. I think you've got a strong hierarchy established here in terms of headers versus your body copy. I do like that the border that you applied to that image. I think that's a nice touch. I also like that you tightened up the kerning of the letter spacing on your headers here. I think all of that works out particularly well. Yeah, this is looking good. And I love that you've got some links inside of the footer. This is a nice functional example of a footer. And that gold color pops very nicely against the like that dark red, that maroon. Let's see. Cool, looks good. Just a small thing to maybe think about. We might be able to put on the footer, the style for your footer, maybe consider giving it a margin top of maybe 20 to 50 pixels. What that will do is just increase the gap between the footer and the last of the content. We get a little tight right here. I love the amount of just sort of loose space you have around everything. Nothing really feels cramped until I get right here.
So put a margin top on my footer?
Yes, correct. And that's what that will do, is then it'll add the margin on the top of the footer. So no matter how much stuff you might have, how long or short a page goes, the footer will always just look at whatever comes before it and count down, that amount of your margin top.
Right. I did have one issue. If you go to the diet page,
yeah,
I did not put a picture at the bottom. And what I noticed was I have this white space and I cannot get rid of it.
Okay.
I just don't know how to get. I really wanted to try to figure it out on my own, but I didn't.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. We'll give that a look.
Same with that page.
Yeah, this one too. Okay.
If I add a picture, then it goes away.
Huh. Okay. So let's see. So this is likely the content container that this is happening in. I'll give it a quick look, Kathy. Because of our limited time, if I can't figure it out quickly, just email me a copy of your RIP folder and I'll give it a look over the weekend. Try and give it a quick look here and see. Yeah, your content looks good. I don't necessarily see anything there that would be the issue. So the next thing that would be a culprit, or could be a culprit, would be perhaps after your paragraphs, there's something that is causing that. So we'll give your paragraph style a quick look and we'll see what's going on.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And I played with that. I added a margin on the top, some padding on the bottom.
I think it's this. Let's try and
okay, yeah, try that. But I added that in to try to get rid of it. So,
gotcha.
But go ahead and whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that out. Let's just sort of see what else. Margin type. I don't necessarily see anything else that might potentially be causing an issue there. So we'll do a quick save on that and refresh. Okay, so still a thing there. The quickest and easiest way for us to see if there's something in the paragraph tag that is causing that issue is to comment it out entirely, or just for speed's sake, I'm just going to delete it. I did copy it before I did that though, so I can just put that back very easily. But this sort of shotgun approach is a easy way. And actually, so that answers the question. It's not the paragraph tag that's causing that issue. Okay. So there's something up, and I will absolutely help you fix that. Do me a favor at some point today. Just shoot me an email and just say, hey, Pete, quick reminder, can you take a look at my content, the bottom of my content on those two pages? And I will, we'll figure it out. The only suggestion right now that I have for you is just adding that top or margin top to your nav. And then in your style sheet, just taking care of removing that inline style and putting it into the style sheet itself. Really nicely done on this, Kathy. It should be a very easy transition from you for this week into next week when the final version of this is due. Excellent work.
Okay, thank you.
I resubmitted my folder.
Awesome. Cool. Let's jump back in here. So let's see. There we go, Jacob. Okay, cool.
Oh, same here too.
Okay, perfect. Cool. So I'm gonna, it looks like a bunch of us have, so I'm gonna, again, so I can kind of keep track of things. I'm gonna start here at the top and kind of start working my way down. All right, let's see. Okay. All right, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and actually open up both of these files in Visual Studio. Okay. Okay, looking good here. Yeah, nicely organized, Grippy. It looks good. The style sheet is also looking well constructed. Okay, cool. All right, so the $1,000,000 question then is, what does this look like in the browser? Let's give it a look. Let's see, I'm gonna move our Zoom out of the way. Let's see, can I do this? Yes. Okay. All right. Cool. Gurpreet, one thing right off the bat that I would recommend is consider for your links having perhaps either a lighter color as the initial state, maybe, you know, like a nice sort of like sky blue or even lighter. I love the rollover, like when it's white, it looks great. In fact, you might even consider starting with white as the link state, and on a rollover, maybe making it that sort of powder blue. The black against the dark purple definitely does not have a lot of pop or contrast to it. Let's see here. Cool. Typographically, all is good. Maybe consider just a little extra, you know, right and left padding. Get maybe a little bit close in terms of our overall margins. Whatever it might be right now, maybe consider adding another 10 to 20 pixels on that.
Okay.
I would even say on the header tags, like your H tags, let's see which one that possibly is. Let's see here. I think it's probably an H1. Okay, so the H2, maybe even adding some margin top on the H2, just so that the header isn't right up against the top of the you know, the background there. So yeah, consider that small thing. That looks good. I like the spacing there. Yeah, even definitely add some left margin left on these H tags. They are right up against the edge, you know, to the basically, where is our H? Let's find that. So it would essentially be like a margin dash left. I mean, I'd go at least 10, but probably 20 pixels. Give that a quick save. And if we refresh, there we go. Just, you know, that little extra kick over, so it's not touching. And whatever value you use there, I would use the same thing on the left and the right margins of the paragraph text as well. Okay. Cool. Yeah, again, I would say, you know, same thing on the links here, that dark black against that really rich dark blue is definitely hard to see. Looking good though. Actually, another just small thing, maybe consider for your footer using that same purple that you used in your nav. It's a nice way to kind of bookend the site, so it begins and sort of ends with its interactive elements being treated the same way.
Okay.
Cool, looking good here. I would definitely be careful about changing up the font for the headers. It's absolutely okay to change size or change color, but I would definitely suggest that you go with whatever font you were using here. I think this is probably just Arial.
Okay.
Okay, cool, very nice lists. Cool. Looking good there. Yeah, again, whatever H tags, these are probably H3. And let's add some left margins on those. And okay. Cool. So fairly small things. I mean, I know it was basically tweaking margins and adjusting the one typeface at this point. The other thing I would maybe consider is a consistent treatment of the type in the banners. I think you want to go one of two ways. Like this is actually quite nice and simple and elegant, this font and this treatment. But like when we go to like skincare, we were using a different font. In this case, we're using Impact, and we've got like a type warp on it. Same thing here, Impact with a type warp. This is Impact, no type warp. I would say we want to probably stay consistent so that they're not having a different typographical feel from page to page to page. Personally, I like this treatment the best. I think it's clean, simple, professional, elegant. But if you prefer Impact and using the type warps, you certainly could do that, but I would change that on beauty tips. Okay. So that would be a matter of going back to your Photoshop file and changing the type and just resaving those. For any of you guys, a quick tip: if you ever have to replace an image, just save it in your images folder right over the old document, and you won't have to update anything in your HTML, because remember, HTML just references files. Okay, so it's actually fairly easy to do. All right, cool. Gripper, for yourself, it will also be a fairly easy, work week for you to get the project from where it is right now to next week. Nice work.
Thank you.
Okay, Jacob, let's give yours a look here next. I'm going to close the old files and let's see. Let's see here. All right, cool. Jacob, the root folder is looking good. Let's see. Images are looking good as well. Nice small file sizes across the board there. All right, let's take a peek under the hood at the code. Okay, let's see. All right. Okay, so the code is looking clean, but there is definitely an issue in terms of the path for the images, Jacob. This will work on your computer. It will not work on any other computer, or if this were uploaded to a web server. Right now, it's pointing to your C drive in your users folder, in your office folder, in your documents folder, and so on and so forth. If I were to pull this project up on my computer, that will not show, nor would it show if you, again, tried to put that up on a web server, because the web server does not have a C drive and that same path structure that you have. Let's see, project one. And I'll show you how to fix it. Not a big deal. But notice that image, really probably none of your images actually show. So let's talk about how to build an accurate path. So this page, this index page, needs to find the images in the image folder. So it needs to, first of all, know to look in the image folder. And we do that by beginning the path with images. So this is telling it, look in the images folder, and once there, look for the file called homebanner.jpg. And let's go ahead and save that. And now if I test that page out again and refresh, there we go. So this is probably, guys, one of the more misleading things in web design, is that if we have a bad path, it's hard to know if you're beginning with this stuff, because it'll work on your computer, but it won't work on anybody else's computer, which obviously, again, that's where things become difficult. It looks like also, Jacob, that perhaps we've got to get, we do have some links in here, but it looks like the links are styled right now to be black. So black on a black background is not ideal. Let's potentially, my recommendation to you there is potentially in your links to define.
I don't know why that is.
It's
They're all showing up white on mine.
Okay, so the reason why they're showing up white on yours is because you've probably clicked on them and they are visited at that point. This is why it is right here under on line 99 of your code, you're telling your links to show up as black, okay? So if you want those to show up as white, we do this, okay? And then we can go ahead and give that a refresh and there they are, okay? Yeah, I like the rollover state on those. I do think to push those links down, we probably want to go into the
Yeah, that was
nav.
another problem I was having. I couldn't get them to go down even when I did like a margin top in the link spacer or the nav.
Okay, so we're going to do it in the nav, and we're not going to use a margin. Rather, we're going to use a padding. So if we do, just to show you guys the difference between those, if I put in the nav a margin top, it's going to push the whole container down. Margins refer to the space outside of a container. So let's just say I put like, I don't know, 100 in there. And we test it out. It pushes the whole thing down. So what we want to do instead of using a margin top is using a padding top. Padding is the space inside of the container. Margins is the space outside of the container. And now we get an obnoxious amount of space here on the top. So I'm going to bring that number down. But, you know, maybe it's going to be 20 to maybe 30. I don't know. Somewhere in that neighborhood will work. You know, that's what 20 looks like. I would probably add more because I like the amount of spacing you have there on the bottom. So maybe that number ends up being a 40 or something along those lines, maybe even a 50. Yeah, there we go. That's what 40 looks like. Let's see here. So some things that I would recommend, I think you want to think about having more variation within the type. Right now, all of your type in here is all the same size, same color, same font. The addition of some headers will really help. I think if you maybe think about maybe making like the first sentence a header, maybe using like one of your H tags, that will definitely start to spice things up. So like right now, that's surrounded with a paragraph tag, but if we do like an H1, of course, we got to close that H1. That will definitely start to add just some more visual variation and start to strengthen that typographical hierarchy. So, you know, maybe not both sentences like I just did, maybe just the first, but that definitely starts to help. Now, if you feel that the look of that type is too strong, or maybe the wrong color or wrong font, obviously you can go in there and you can tweak that. But I do feel like that will help. Let's see, I'm gonna actually go back to the browser.
I want to use a different font for the entire website
Okay.
from Google Fonts, but I couldn't figure out how to use that font in the HTML.
Gotcha. David, did you take a look at the Google font resources that I placed in there for you guys?
I think I did. I'm not sure.
Okay. So I'm not sure which week that is off the top of my head.
I think it might have been 3 or 4.
Yeah, let's see. Walk through. Okay.
I think I saw it in 4.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, Google Fonts demo. Yeah, give that another watch. I would love to just do it real quick right now, but we are, as I talked about, we're extremely limited on time. I've already gone over the allotted time here, but the using Google Fonts, there's an excellent video walkthrough. I mean, you can read about it, just do the video walkthrough. If a lot of you are having issues with Google Fonts, I can record my own walkthrough with you guys, but it's really, to be honest with you, it's not gonna be much different than what you're seeing here. But I certainly can do it. I mean, it's a quick enough thing. I can build a walkthrough in about 3-4 minutes for you guys. So as we progress,
that will be, that will be great because they updated Google Fonts, like the website altogether. So the video doesn't relate to the website anymore.
Okay, cool. No, thank you for letting me know. Let me make a note. And what I will do, guys, is when class is over, I will record that for you guys and I'll post it to our class. But let me just grab something to write with so I can make that note. Yeah, if that ever happens with a resource that I provide to you guys, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Happy to to record stuff for you guys. So Google font walkthrough. Cool, and I'll just replace, not only will I replace that link, but in our announcement area on the home page, I will place a link to that video there as well. And again, since it's such a quick thing to do, expect that video to be up within an hour after we're done with our class here today, okay? All right, let's see here. What else do we have here? So yeah, ultimately,
I'll update the links.
yeah, exactly. I think it's just going to be a matter of just getting those fixed. Now, I will show you, David, a quick way to do this as well. I'm sorry, Jacob, quick way to do this where you don't have to keep finding each and every one of them. So there's a great shortcut in any coding program that is called find. So if I select the stuff here that's wrong, and I then just do the shortcut of Command or Control F and do this is looking for a find. I'm going to paste that in there, and it's going to show up here. Let's see, in this program, let's see, I want to do a find and replace. There should be a find and replace option. Let's see, no. Shoot, where is a find and replace? No. Replace, there we go. So it's just a matter of just a little twirl down arrow. I'm going to replace this with nothing, okay? And we should just be able to then hit return. Cool, so it fixed the one. I'm going to do that again, do it again. And notice how it just fixed all three of those chunks of code fairly fast. You can also replace it with actual stuff. In this case, I did it with nothing. But if you need to change it, replace it with whatever, you can do that as well, okay? So that's a very quick and easy way to rip through a whole bunch of code where you're not having to find the things that you're trying to replace. But there we go. See those images now found and then in place. Okay, cool. So Jacob, you got a few things to think about. And again, I will absolutely get you a Google font replacement video to watch. But as always, if you have any questions, between now and next week, feel free to reach out to me via email, okay?
Awesome, thank you.
Yep, no problem. All right, so let's see here. Let's go ahead and do this one. Unfortunately, without meeting with you guys in person every week, I don't know the names like I do all my other students, so I don't know who Pat is, but I will say I do. I dig the name there. Let's see. Okay. All right. RIP folder is looking good. Images folder is looking good as well. Let's go ahead and get our documents open. Okay, so HTML doc is looking perfect. Yeah, very nice. Okay, good. This is looking good as well. Cool. I'm actually try my shortcut. My extension for Visual Studio Code for some reason hasn't been working the last few weeks. When I do an Alt B, yeah, it's not working again. It's putting in this really weird character and not launching.
Mine was doing the same thing.
Was it really? Oh, well, I guess it's slightly reassuring in that I couldn't figure out what the heck was wrong. It might just be a matter of reinstalling it because that did happen to me last semester as well. And I reinstalled it at the beginning of this semester and it did work. And it was just recently, like in the last week or so, that it stopped working for me. So it may be just a matter of just reinstalling that extension. Which I need to do because this is obviously kind of chewing up time for me to have to go and do an open file each and every time. Let's see.
Oh yeah, that's mine, by the way. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. Thanks, Nick. Okay. All right, cool. Banner's looking good. Maybe consider Nick, on the gaming platform type, like it looks like you've got an outer glow on there, maybe making that just a little bit more intense. It's not an issue at all, I think, where you've got black text against a lighter background, but the black against the black, I think that if the amount of that outer glow is just a little bit more, probably double what it is right now, I feel you get some really nice separation. Let's see here. Love the pictures, nice and visual. Let's see. So something you can consider, Nick, and this is something that probably all of you guys will want to consider for your list items. You can go ahead and bump them over by adding a margin left to those as well. That's going to be, you can do that on here. Let's see. I want to make sure I'm giving you the right info. We're going to do that either on, let's see. Let's go look at your lists. So list items. Let's do a margin left. We might actually have to do it to the, rather than the list items, to the list as a whole. But let me just try something real quick here. Yep, there we go. So it actually is the list items. So just a margin left, we'll bump those over. Okay, let's see here. 1 second, guys. All right, let's see here. Continuing on. Cool, looking good. Maybe consider in the footer, adding a little space after the copyright. So one way we can do this without having to like go do it in a style sheet. I don't know if I showed this code to you guys, but it's probably something you may have learned in the Code Academy. But like we can add extra spaces in here. Like, yeah, if, for example, if there's a break tag here. Break tag goes down one line. You can actually double those up. I put another break here and then just refresh this. You can see how it just adds another break down here, which pushes that, you know, that copyright versus the link down a little bit. But overall, this is looking really nice. Looks like on the subsequent pages, you know, for next week, obviously make sure Nick, you've got some more images in here. But the amount of text itself is wonderful. It's looking good. I like typographical hierarchy, no suggestions there. Maybe consider on the rollover in your link states here, maybe instead of blue, something that just has a little bit more pop against this gray. I mean, it could just be as simple as black would be, I think, just a better choice in terms of the rollover, because that red we're not really, or I'm sorry, that blue we're just not really seeing elsewhere within the site. So consider that. But yeah, Nick, you're basically a link color, a break, and the addition of some other images for your sub pages away from having this done. So for you as well, it should be a fairly straightforward week, getting from where it is right now, which is near done, to where it needs to be for next week. So wonderful job on this.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so far so good, guys. I'm very happy with what I've been seeing here so far. Let's see, Carlos, let's give yours a look here next. This one I'm noticing that the upload time on this is from last week. So this may not be the completed version. Let's see here, is Carlos here in the house with us? I'm not seeing him. We'll give this a quick look, but if it's from last week, I likely won't go into too long of a critique on this. Oh, you know, hang on. Let me get the old ones closed. There we go. Okay. So let's see. I've got 2 style sheets open. Let's see. Too many darn windows. Bear with me, guys. I'm not sure why I opened up those, but I'm sure it was a user error. I probably goofed on something. Okay. Cool. Let's see. Carlos, your HTML is looking nice and clean, as is your style sheet. Oh, yeah. All right. Very good. Let's take a look. This is where I'm not sure if I'll be able to give you a ton of feedback. It's still the project from last week, but we shall see here. Ooh, okay. Cool. All right. So a few things to think about with this. I would make sure that the images, like for a banner, that the image is actually 960 pixels, which it might be the nav that's off, but ultimately we don't want to have the nav sticking out here. So we can do kind of a quick, dive into that and see what's going on. The banner image, I don't know what the height of that is without the height and width. And I do recommend, guys, for all of you, like I suggested in the demo with images, you do want to give it a height and a width. It will technically work without, but your websites load much better when they are on a web server. So let's see why we can see the height and width of this. It should show me that height and width. There we go. Yep, your width is correct, of 960. So let's investigate and see what's going on with like maybe the wrapper. Wrapper is good as well. There likely then is something going on with the nav that's causing it to kick out to the side. No, I don't see anything there. So let's take a look then next at the link spacers. It's the margin right. This right here is what we want to remove, Carlos. Taking that out of your link spacers should get the navigation under control. Let's take a look. Yep, so it wasn't that. Interesting. Something up right there for sure, though. That's another thing I can absolutely help you with. But during our crunch time critique, it's probably going to take a little bit more work. It looks like the same thing is happening with the wrapper as well. So there's a conflict somewhere. I can absolutely help you with that via email if you reach out to me. Wrapper is looking good. Content, good. Yeah, there's something in here is causing our containers to get wider than they should be. So again, reach out to me. I will happily give you some thoughts on that. I would absolutely for next week make sure that we're not using like blue color links on a blue background. So maybe white links or a soft gray. I would also not really recommend using script type for body copy. You really want to consider going with either serif or sans serif type that's simple and clean and easy to read. Script type is very ornate, and after a sentence or two, it just becomes very difficult for our brain to read that much type. Okay. Let's see. I don't know if any of these subpages will be working at this point. No, yeah, I had a feeling because again, this was last week's folder. So again, Carlos, got a few things to think about. And again, if you're having difficulty getting those containers, the size correct, please just reach out to me via email, and I will help you figure that out. Let's see here, Catherine. Let's give yours a look. Okay, we are going to have to kick into like maximum overdrive now, guys. We are down to an hour, a little less than an hour's worth of time. So let's see what we can do here. Okay, so Catherine, the root folder looks absolutely perfect, nice and clean. These out. is opened up. All right, the HTML looks good. Nice descriptive file names. I love for yourself that you can put the dimensions in there so that you could see that while you were coding. That's wonderful. Now, one thing you do want to consider is that if this image is actually 960, giving it the correct width here in the HTML as well. Otherwise, it will distort it. Okay. Cool. We are looking good. Yeah, that's wonderful. Style sheet is looking good as well. Okay, cool. Let's see. Okay. All right, Red Panda. So first suggestion for you right off the bat, I would probably in your links add a little bit more padding on the top or a margin top. So again, looking at your style sheet, going into the CSS and on the links, so the A tag essentially, or a link, you can do it here. Just go ahead and do like a margin top. I'd go at least 20 pixels, if not more. That's going to certainly help push those down and get them, you know, off of touching like that darker red bar there. That did not work. Actually, I'm not doing that the best way. I would actually do that because these are not, they're not set up to display as a box. So doing that actually inside your nav, like I did earlier in one of those examples. So there's nav. So nav, if you were to give that like padding top, that's where we could throw in like 20 or again, could be more. Yep. There we go. So that starts to push those down. I would also, for all of you guys, I would not recommend making the type, like the font size larger on a rollover. You can see how it influences the other links. It just creates a very unprofessional kind of bounce. Maybe consider capital P on Panda and some margin top on your header tag, just so that the type is not sitting right on the up against the edge of the container. Let's see. From a color standpoint, though, I'm liking things. Nice big bold images. I like that a lot. Yeah, cool. Cool. So very much short of constructing their pages, which is okay. I know a lot of you guys are in that stage right now, but you know, basically for your other pages, we just want to get them to the standpoint of having some other nice, big, large images that really showcase the animal. So kind of build on what you did here on the homepage, and it should be a pretty straightforward week for you as well.
Okay.
Let's see here. Jose, let's give yours a look next. Okay. So Jose, right off the bat, with a root folder that's 46 megs, that is a red flag where we likely have some things in that root folder that don't belong. Probably some Photoshop or Illustrator files. You definitely want to get those out of there. So not in the project, in here somewhere. Please remove those. Again, can't stress this enough, guys. Any files that are not supposed to be in there, you guys will lose points on this project. So, so please, please, please make sure that those are removed. Okay, cool. Let's open up some things here. Let's get the old files out, new files in. Okay. All right, cool. We got some Google fonts brought in, very good. And the code is looking nice and clean. Cool, cool, cool. Nice use of classes on those images. All right, awesome. That's looking good. Styles are looking good as well. Cool. Again, great to see you using some Google fonts. All right, what does she look like in the browser? All right, look at that. Love the big, bold type. I think that looks fantastic. I don't know from a color standpoint, I'm the biggest fan of the blue on the rollovers. I mean, there is, there's a hint of blue up here, but overall against that really deep saturated blue against a deep saturated red, probably not the best combo. In fact, that red's going to be hard to put a lot of things against. Maybe it just on a rollover either stays white and just has the underline. Maybe it's black, maybe it's gray, I'm not sure. It would absolutely be fine just with having an underline appear though, that would be fine. But I love the type treatment. Nice, big, it's single column websites, guys. Modern single column websites do tend to have oversized type, especially because it displays really well on a phone. But this looks great. I'm a big fan of the setup here. Wonderful. Let's see, any other pages? Yeah. Okay. Cool. You can always consider, guys, for large chunks of text like this, breaking this up with further paragraphs. The reason why I suggest that is smaller paragraphs that are limited to like 3 to 4 sentences are oftentimes much more approachable in terms of prompting us to consider reading them versus a big chunk of type like this is sort of standoffish. We're like, immediately my brain says, wow, that's a lot of type to read, versus if it's just broken up, again, it feels more approachable. Love the full screen or full, wrapper images that we're using in here. Yeah, this looks great, really does. I'm guessing the other pages kind of follow suit. Yeah. Cool. Placeholder at this point for type, that's okay though. Again, it's just kind of nice to see things coming together. Yeah, I think at this point, from a design standpoint, only the 2 suggestions. Considering not using the blue for the rollover, just again against that color, that maroon color, I think it's just there's a color conflict happening there. Another option, if you want to keep the blue, is maybe just going with black for the background and the nav. Otherwise, do consider, kind of like you're doing here on the homepage, breaking those paragraphs up into smaller, more digestible chunks of text. But it should be a very straightforward week for you as well. I really am a big fan overall of what you're doing with your typography on this. Very nice.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Kabal, let's give yours a look here next. Let me clear out Visual Studio Code. All right, let's see. Good, folder's looking nice. Image folder looking good as well. All right. Okay. HTML. Looking good. All right. Style sheet. Also looking, so I don't see. All right, let's see how this looks in the browser. Well, love the big, bold imagery. You know, similarly to what you heard me say a moment ago, I would definitely break up paragraphs like this into smaller paragraphs. Definitely recommend more padding on the left and the right, just so that we're not so close to that, that edge. And obviously we want to tie up the footer as well and get that under, you know, probably just go black with it. I really like the way the black navigation looks. All right, it does not look like the other pages are in place yet, and that's okay. They're not technically due today. Okay, Corbell, here's one thing you're going to want to fix. In your links, in your HTML, you are linking to things called page 2, page 3, page 4, no caps, no spaces. But in your root folder, your files are not named that. They are named with a cap, and they are named with a space. And both of those things will cause issues. So you're going to want to go into your root folder, no spaces, no space, back up and running. Let's just do this. There we go. That will actually then link out to those pages. Obviously, those pages still need to be made, but yeah, you've got a good start to it. Obviously, you've got some work to do between now and next week with those sub pages, as well as getting some additional images plugged in here. Those things are not hard to do, but please don't underestimate the amount of time it takes to make those things happen. I would absolutely recommend getting on that probably today, so that you know, you're not trying to make all of this happen in a day or two. It's definitely not possible to do in such short time. So definitely get on the horse with that. Okay, let's see. Let's give this a look. All right, projects. What do we got here? Okay, root folder's looking good. Image folder looked good. All right. Yeah, overall, guys, the root folders have been excellent. So it's typically a sticking point with this project. Oftentimes, those root folders are not nice and tight. Okay, awesome use of Google Fonts. Chaz, this must be yours. I'm seeing History of Metallica.
Yeah, I got the Google Fonts to work.
Cool, perfect. Yep, that's looking good. The HTML all around is looking good here. Okay. Cool. Right, we're looking good here. Cool. All your containers are looking good. Type at this point, I know it's all good for really all of you guys. So, all right, excellent. Cool. So, $1 million question: how does this look in the browser? Cool. So, Chaz, definitely consider on your link color going with you know, black or something. Wow, so this is an old picture. Yeah, I was just gonna say it's Ron McGovey.
I thought they were white. I don't know why they're not there.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's take a look real quick in your code and see like what's going on with that. Nope, right here. They are definitely red.
Oh, okay.
It looks like the visited state is white, but the default state is red. Okay. Cool. Let's see. Oh, what is this? The Four Horsemen album. I'm not familiar with that cover.
It was just an image I found for the Four Horsemen because they were talking about it in the text below.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Cool. This is awesome. Yeah, I love all these old album covers. I've got this. I've got Creeping to Death, the original on vinyl. That single, Jump on a Fire, all those. I was a big Metallica fan in high school, sir. Okay. Cool. It's very visual. I mean, I love all the imagery. I would say consider a little extra padding on the left and right. They end up being very, very long, wide paragraphs. Maybe even consider, believe it or not, maybe making the body copy a pixel or two bigger, just because it's on a black background. White type on a black background at a smaller size just kind of strains the eyes a little bit more than if it were inverted, you know. And I think that you can get away with black background. I mean, it's a subject matter that I think works. So, but yeah, do increase that probably at least 2 points. I'm sorry, 2 pixels larger. Let's see. Cool.
Still working on the rest there.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. I'm just gonna kind of flip through these here real quick. Cool. Yeah, this is an example of like, I really love how like these banners are just, you know, customized to the eras of the band. Yeah, cool. Wow, that's an old Faith No More t-shirt right there. Very cool. Yeah, I think at this point, Jazz, it's really just a matter of getting the homepage text. Well, and of course it'll carry over to all of the other pages as well once you do it. But bigger font, more padding on the, more margin on the left and the right of the content container. And then just shore up those link colors. It's 3 things, but all 3 of those things will probably take you no more than about 5 minutes to implement. So you're absolutely on the right path. Just follow suit on those sub pages, making sure that they're nice and visual like we're seeing here, and you'll be good to go. Wow, is Lars really that short? Or is it like James?
Yeah, I guess so.
Wow, that's crazy. Like, I don't know how I've never noticed that. Like, again, I was a huge Metallica fan. I've got like every freaking magazine and picture book that Metallica was in. And I've never noticed that he's a very small.
Yeah, every photo that was coming across, he was a lot shorter than everyone else. It looks like Cliff was pretty tall.
Yeah, no doubt. Awesome. Cool. Excellent work, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Bella, let's give yours a look next. Okay, let's see. What folder is looking good? Image folder. Oh, excellent. Really nicely compressed images. Very good. Okay, cool. Let's take a peek under the hood and look at the code. Okay, cool. Awesome. Google Fonts implemented. Very good. Okay. Yeah, HTML looks wonderful. Good. All right. Awesome. Code looks fantastic. Let's see. Let's give this guy a look. Oh, that's awesome. Love the choice of font here. You're using just that nice sort of soft rounded edges. It works perfectly with this. The body copy is wonderful as well. Nice and clean. Yeah, wonderful. Very, very visual. Excellent. Right. Beautiful rollover color on there. Obviously works very well with the site as it sits right now. Maybe consider on the list items making the type bigger, just because they are what they are. They're very short lists. I think if you make the fonts much bigger, I mean, I would probably go like 24 pixel, if not bigger, on those. I do feel like that will just it'll feel like you've got a lot less negative space, and the balance will kind of work out. That's really the only thing I see at this point that I would recommend to you. That's hilarious. I love that little graphic to wrap up the page. Ooh, awesome block quote here. So guys, this is something that it's not a requirement on this project, but you're seeing one in action here, and it looks great. Bella, I would recommend getting a closing quote here. It does feel off that we've got an opening one, no closing one. But between that and the list, that's really my only suggestions for you visually. This is gorgeous. Really well done. Beautiful typographical hierarchy present here, guys, with the main headers versus the subheaders. Yeah, wonderful. Well, it should be a very straightforward week for you as well. Very minimal suggestions in terms of wrapping this up. I think this is a fantastic project. Really well done. There's so much mood and atmosphere here. Your choice of font and color just are perfect, I think, for the subject matter.
Thank you.
All right, let's see. Jennifer, let's see. It looking like this is probably the most current one.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where to put it. I have a list, and I'm hoping we could talk about it tomorrow after school, if you have time.
It's entirely possible. Absolutely. Let me give this a look, and we can kind of talk about your list. And I should be able to make some time to stay after class. Shouldn't be a problem at all.
Okay. And there is some things that I did correct already because I figured out the problem.
Okay, cool.
When I link to my other pages, I mean, the style sheet is the same. So I'm not understanding why it's not giving the same, setup.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's something I can probably address right now for you. Let's see here.
And my images, I have a couple that are huge, and I need two of them to be the same size and right next to each other.
Yeah.
So maybe you could help me with that tomorrow.
Sure. One thing I see right off the bat, Jen, is that on the width, if you look at line 37 and line 42, the width is just missing an equal sign. That will probably fix not only those images, but things elsewhere as well. So like here, this one as well, we want to get that. No biggie. I mean, if that's like it's the only issue I see in the code as it sits right now.
So far.
Yeah. Let's see.
I don't know.
The
The more I was playing with it, the more I was finding out, but then I'd come back and I'm like, oh no, what'd I do?
Yeah. Well, let's see. I'm going to open this up in the browser. We can should be able to address the CSS issue today. That shouldn't be a big deal. Cool. All right, let's see.
The top is gone. The welcome to your art journey.
Okay, good. I was going to suggest.
I figured out how to get rid of it.
Okay.
I couldn't get rid of it before. The fonts for the links and the colors are not what I put in, but it keeps doing that.
Okay. All right, we'll take a look at that and see what's going on.
I can tell you everything that's wrong.
Okay. I definitely recommend more padding inside of your content area, just to kind of get these off the edge.
Mine has it. And see this image on the bottom, I want way smaller. I want the two side by side. I don't know what's going on in Illustrator, why it's not letting me do that. I don't know.
Okay. Let's see. I can probably address a few of these things real quick here for you. So on your index page, that last image. Well, I mean, right now what's going on with that image is it's big. It's occupying the whole width of your frame, and it's quite tall as well. So if you do want to get another image next to that, my suggestion is to shrink the image down, like physically. Take it into Photoshop, resize it down. I mean, from a standpoint of, if I were to copy this real quick, while Photoshop is launching, actually here, we'll just do that real quick. But if you want to get two images side by side, they need to be at least, they need to be 480 pixels wide or smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this in here. What you would basically do is just go to image and image size and get this down to at least 480. My math there is just, that's half of 960, right? But probably even a little bit smaller. So that you can put some padding around them. I would probably go down to like.
Well, I went down to 320 and then it was 322 for the other size, but
Yeah.
it's not coming up when I save it into the images folder. It's
Mhm.
not replacing the old one.
Okay.
That's where I'm having problems.
Okay, cool. Let's kind of run through that real quick. So if I were to save this and put it in, let's see, shoot. Let's see, list. Okay, so project one images. Do you know off the top of your head which file that is?
That should be
Welcome 5.
welcome
maybe?
5, yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm clicking on that and I'm just going to overwrite it. And we'll replace that. Now the key is not only replacing the image, but then we want to plug in the correct height and width. So let's see, jot this down, 420, 537. What we'd want to do then is go into your code and then make that tweak. So this is now 420. This one is now 537. And if I save this and pull her up and refresh, you can see now it's shrunk down. So that should give us the room to plug in something next to it. Give that a shot. If it's not working for you, I'll absolutely hang out with you after class tomorrow. We'll make that happen. Let's just talk quickly about the links, just to see what might be going on there. Again, if it looks like it's not a quick solution, we'll talk about that tomorrow as well.
Okay.
But the links should be pretty straightforward. Here they are right here. Let's just try something as a test, because you mentioned when you tried to change this, it just wasn't working for you. I'm going to plug in a color like red, something like just obnoxious.
Okay.
See if that's working for us. So they are responding, so that's good.
Okay. It doesn't like me, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, it's working. I noticed that there is no color on a visited or a hover. So basically what that means is a visited link will automatically become purple. And that's probably what's happening on your end, is it's not looking like they're changing because this has not been defined. So absolutely give it a color, even if you want it to stay the same. Like here, let me undo real quick. Even if you want the visited to stay this color, you got to plug that in. I would be willing to bet any amount of money, Jen, that that's what the issue is, that on your computer, it doesn't look like they changed because you've already visited them on your computer. So it's always going to read as just a visited link. Okay. Try that out. Again, if it doesn't work, let me know. But yeah, I think that I only really had two visual suggestions for you. Getting rid of this, and it sounds like you already did.
Yes.
And then definitely shrinking this image down because I felt like it was too big. I love the full width banner here, but this image being full width was just too tall. It was just like this large image. Oh, and then also in your content container, give yourself some padding on the left and right. So wherever
I did that already in mine at home.
Perfect. All right. Awesome.
And the only thing when I link it, this is what we'll probably have to talk to tomorrow, because my presenters workshop creative process .html, the cascading style sheet should all be the same.
Correct.
When you link into workshops, everything's, and then keep going to the next one, creative process. It's even worse. I don't know what happened. I don't know. The more I touch it, the more it gets screwed up.
Okay. That we will absolutely address. Okay. Because that's going to require a little bit more time to figure out. But I don't necessarily think it's the style sheet per se. I mean, I could be wrong about that. I can absolutely in just a few seconds tell whether or not it's the style sheet or whether it is the pages themselves by just opening them in Visual Studio. And let's see here.
Style guide, next one to the left.
Oh, gotcha. There we go. Okay, cool. I was like, yeah, something's not right here. Yeah, the base structure is looking the same.
I think on the index, the homepage,
Mm.
I put some breaks, and I think that's what got it to the links to go down, but that doesn't make sense. It should not need that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, one thing I would absolutely do is get all
Yeah.
of these
I
width
see that.
properties,
Yep.
get those
I see
squared
that.
away. I bet you that will fix
Yep.
many issues that you end up having. But yeah, like, you know, like here, for
Yeah,
example, I think those headers right off the bat are not working correctly based on that.
The fine. Okay.
Okay, but if in the end, if it's just giving you a hard time, you know, talk to me. There's something clearly going on here that we're gonna have to fix. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. Okay.
All right.
Had a
Sorry
great
for taking so much time. Thank
No,
you.
no, it's all good. We'll see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Thank you.
Mhm. All right, let's see. We're getting there, guys. Let's see. Okay, we got a few more to dig into. Let's see.
Yeah, the newest one is my entire root folder. I only included the project files in the earlier one by mistake.
Okay. No worries. Let's see. Keep clicking on this Mozilla link, guys. Bear with me. All right, let's see here. Cool. Root folder looks good. Images folder looks good. All right. Let's see what we got. Ooh, okay. So one thing right off the bat that we want to fix is here on line 4, we have a div tag inside of the head area or even above the head area. And that we only ever want to have div tags inside the body. Okay. So right off the bat, that's going to be something that's going to really throw things off and have probably made some of your positioning difficult. This would be an element that we'd want to have down here, like so, inside the body. And it may be that his closing tag, ooh boy, we got all sorts of tables and stuff too. Okay,
yeah, sorry, that's a long table. I was trying to get it to so where I could collapse it, but I haven't gotten to it yet.
Okay. Let's see here. So yeah, that div, that the background div never has a proper closing tag either. So that's something we want to be very careful about as well. For now, I'm going to take this out. Actually,
Okay.
before I even save this and look, I want to see what it looks like first in the browser. But that would be, that's definitely a red flag that is probably causing some issues. Yeah, let's see. Just want the HTML file. Oh, ooh, nice scrolling style that you've got there. So the background div that I was referring to, is that what's controlling this back here?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Cool. All right, from a design standpoint, a few things I want you to think about. The green headers against the blue could certainly use a tweak. I like that green, like I like it in the nav, for example. But the green against the blue there is, it's almost washing it out. I would maybe just consider going white with that or black with that. Something though that's different from that green, or maybe going a little lighter blue in the background, because I do actually think that there's a color conflict happening here between the red and the blue. I can read Welcome to the Ballpark, but that red is so saturated against the super saturated blue that there is what's called color vibration. Like it literally looks like it's vibrating on the page here. The nav, just a simple suggestion here, adding a top and bottom padding so that the links aren't like quite touching the top and the bottom of those. But actually, I mean, your table's looking good. I do think making it collapsible would probably be a good decision. Okay, this yellow looks wonderful against the blue. So maybe we end up keeping the green or the red, but just changing the value a bit so that we've got as much pop as we have right here. Okay, so lightening up this green a little bit, and then maybe making it a little bit more saturated. The red potentially making it a little bit less saturated and also a little bit brighter. When I say brighter, I don't mean more red, but actually adding just a touch of white to it, or maybe even using like an orange or a gold color. Small stuff though. I mean, that's simple stuff. I would definitely, after your paragraph tags, I would put, or maybe doing it, let's say, yeah, I would almost do it to the images. At the images, I would put a margin top of maybe, I don't know, 20 pixels, 30 pixels, just so that the text doesn't end and it like, immediately goes to an image. Like I love the amount of room we have here. This is comfortable. I think we want that at the end of these paragraphs. And that's going to happen by adding a top margin to your images. Cool. No, so we have a nice back to top link there as well. Cool. All right. I was going to say I would be shocked if you had these other pages done, because that homepage we've got a lot happening there, and that's okay. I think that the other than these simple color things we talked about and potentially the margins on some of those images, I think you're ready to go. It looks wonderful, performs very, very well. Again, ultimately, you do want to get. I already moved it actually, I believe in here, didn't I? Maybe not. Shoot, undo this. Yeah, there we go. So that div, we just want to make sure that div, which is in your body, ultimately closes. Without counting all of your divs, which will just take too long right now. This one might actually close it. I don't know. Let's see here. Nope. So it thinks the body should close there. So actually, this might be the closing for that div. You might actually be in good shape. Just going to save this and refresh and see. Yep. That's it. The good news then is that that's a fairly easy fix because you already have the closing tag in place. So it's just a matter of taking this div class of BG and putting it under line 9. Okay.
Okay.
Nice work there. I love that you went above and beyond. You looked up some things like making your back to top link work, doing that fixed background. I'm guessing that's what you've done. That background was studying the scroll fixed, and it works great. Those small things can be a lot of fun to explore all the different properties that are out there. And then the final thing, again, definitely make sure in your nav. I would absolutely add some padding on the top and the bottom of that. Again, very straightforward. I think those changes will take you no more than just a few minutes to implement. But be careful on your subpages. You've got a lot of info on your homepage. Technically, the project specs say that I only want to have 5 paragraphs and 5 images max per page. So you've gone above and beyond that, but I will say I like it. It works. I mean, it's a really comprehensive group of data you've got there. But if you run into trouble coming up with content for those subpages, you might just break up some of this information you have here on the homepage and plug that into some of these things. And you probably have enough content here on this page to fill the whole rest of the website. So, something to maybe think about. Well, maybe not. I mean, That's only a few more images than max, and that's fine. If you keep those images, I'm okay with that for sure. All right, very fun project. I'm a big fan of the way this is coming together. Okay. Cool. Let's see. All right, can we finish this on time? I think we can. Jalen, let's give yours a look next. Let's see. All right, awesome. What folder looks good? Image folder looks good. Yeah. All righty, let's see. All right, good start to the HTML. Cool, nice and clean. Okay, cool, you've got some nice comprehensive controls on your type. Okay. Cool. One thing you may want to think about on this is that I noticed in your style sheet, you've got some typefaces in here that may not be, let's see, like Railway, for example, that is likely not a universal font. So you may have that, Jillian, on your computer, but the rest of the universe probably does not. So that may be a font that's not going to show correctly. Remember that you're fairly limited in terms of fonts you can use. We'll see what it looks like. I mean, I don't think I have that font on my computer, but let's see. Cool. From a design standpoint, I do think in the nav, you probably want a padding top added to that, just so these links come down a little bit. So in your style sheet, for your nav, just a padding top. I'd probably go 30 pixels on that. And if we refresh, there we go. It's looking a little more balanced.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
Let's see here. Cool. Typographically, I think you've got a good hierarchy that you're working on here. I like how all of the images have a nice consistent feel, whether they be black and white or have the duotone effect on there. I think that's a very nice touch to have everything sort of tied together. Maybe consider on the paragraphs having a little bit more margins on the left and the right. Ultimately, actually, I really shouldn't say margins, but more padding. That's not something I've shown so far while we've been talking. You do have padding on the left. I would maybe actually add a little bit more, and then probably a padding, same amount on the right as well. Let's give that a save and see how that looks. There we go. I just kind of feel like they are, for when we have paragraphs that run like the whole width without much margins, I feel like they just tend to feel like they just keep going and going. So yeah, consider that. You can even play with that number. It doesn't have to be the exact number that I put in there. But yeah, I very much like this. I think very small stuff to think about. Yeah, I think at this point. Yep. Cool. So make those couple of tweaks, and then you're absolutely ready to get the other pages in place. The design is super close to calling done. I think to make that margin change, or I should say padding change, and then the top padding on the nav should only take you just a few minutes. So very nice. The banners, the banner here looks wonderful. Yeah, very nice.
Thank you so much.
Okay, let's see, Kathy, we looked at yours, so we're down to our final one. All right. This is awesome. I had my doubts there for a moment, guys. We'd be able to sneak all this in the allotted time today. So that is awesome. Okay. The HTML is looking good. Does look like it's not liking the quotes around the wrapper. Need to get that fixed. I would just replace those quotes. I'm not quite sure why it's. I'm not sure, guys, what the issue is in terms of why we're getting those like italicized quotes versus the non-italicized, but I know that that was causing an issue last week with things. So I would definitely tweak that. Let's see here. Also be careful with extra large, extra large, XX large, all those things. I wouldn't use those guys for font sizes because you're letting the browser do the interpretation for you. The different browsers will read those as different values. When you go to a specific pixel size, that pixel size will be the same on all browsers, okay? So that's something I would recommend is not necessarily leaning on large, extra large, extra large, define an actual size for those. Otherwise, the style sheet is looking good here. Yeah. All right, let's see what this looks like in the browser. Okay, let's see. Good. Nope, that's not the browser. Hello. There we go. Cool. I think for the rollovers, I would actually try something here that would be kind of cool. Like the underline is difficult to see because these rest right on the image. So here's a variation that you can always do with this. This will be a perfect example of like when to use it. On the rollover, instead of doing an underline, I would recommend an overline. And now when we refresh that, notice how there is an overline versus that underline, which is kind of getting camouflaged on the image itself. So something to think about. I love that big sort of bold navigation that just looks like impact. I would strongly recommend not using impact for body copy. Very difficult on the eyes. Probably just like an impact. I'm sorry. A Arial or something along those lines. You can always download Google Fonts as well. I do recommend you guys strongly consider that. But let's see where are our paragraphs. Let's see a paragraph. So let's see what that type is being surrounded by. Okay, so here's definitely an error in the HTML. So P1 is not a real tag. We just would want to use P for paragraph. Closing P then. And then you would want to define that in your style. So like if we were to refresh this right now, what did I not save that? I mean, save. Let's see. So something is controlling that type. Here, the content area is controlling that type. So definitely, I would strongly recommend no impact for body copy, guys. That's a tough typeface to read large bits. I'm not saying you have to go with Arial by any means, but it's going to be much easier on the eyes right off the bat. That's just so much easier to read. So consider that. Also consider in the content area some additional maybe padding on the right or left wraps. And then maybe even on this type here, just going a little bit larger with it, maybe even a little bit of padding on the top. So that particular chunk of code is being surrounded by, so that's the header. So we can just go into the header and control the way that is styled. So header. So this is where that font size kind of fails us, right? It's like large, it's not doing a whole lot for us. Maybe let's try like a 24 pixel. Let's maybe also throw in a margin top on that, or a padding top, so it comes down a little bit. Pixels there. So we should get a few things when I come back here and refresh. This should end up coming down 20 pixels, and the size should now be 24 pixels. There we go. So yeah, having that little extra pad in there, I think definitely helps. And the slightly larger size helps as well. So consider those type of graphical suggestions. Consider the rollover on the, you know, the links here, I think, or the overline on the links. I think that's a nice touch. And then it's just a matter, obviously, of getting the subpages set. So, yeah, but I think in terms of the updates, it won't take you very long to make those tweaks that I just made in here. Okay, cool. Let's refresh this, just see if anybody else got the project in here that we did not look at. Yeah, I think we got everybody. Cool. All right. Yeah, we did it. Wow, 5 minutes to spare. Okay, good. That gives me a few minutes to kind of wrap up, guys. For next week, obviously we have the final version of this due. Many of you are very close to having that done because you've got your subpages done. For those that don't have the subpages done, please hear me out on this. Get going on that sooner than later. It's not hard to make them, but it is time consuming. It takes longer than you think to find that information, plug it in, find the images, resize them, plug them in, okay? So again, you're not faced with a difficult task. You're just faced with a time-consuming task. So get on that so that you've got enough time. You don't want to find yourself doing that a day or two before this project is due, okay? Because inevitably there can be problems. So even if you have a lot of time a day or two before this is due, if you run into a problem, it can take me as long as 24 hours to get back to you. So, you know, make sure that you give yourself enough time to compensate for problems that might arise. Overall, I'm really happy with the way that these look, though. Just be prepared next week to submit a final version of the RIT folder. Sorry for the confusion on where to submit that today. For next week, you're definitely submitting things into a Part 6 final site folder. And again, just like you guys did today, just zip up the entire RIT folder for our class, drop it in there, you're good to go, okay? I've got on my to-do list here, I will be making a Google font walkthrough. I'll do that in just a few minutes after we're done with class. Otherwise, as I mentioned, if there are any things you guys can't figure out, zip a copy of your RIT folder, send it to me via email. I will take a look at things. In some cases, I'll just make a small video for you. It makes it easier to fix. And then just email you back that video, okay? Any questions concerning next week's due date before we wrap up here? No? Okay, cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you much for having all that stuff submitted. I really look forward to seeing these projects wrapped up for next week. And again, if you need anything, please let me know. I'm going to go ahead and stop our meeting then so that I can get our video downloaded and then plugged into our class. But obviously you can always go back and watch my critique of your work. If you forgot things that I talked about, I certainly recommend that you do that. Okay?
All right. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Yep.
Bye.
So you guys have a fantastic week.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Thank you.